Rain poured consistently throughout the evening, tapping lightly on the illuminated panes of Rosie's eatery, a modest spot located right by the main road. Within, the atmosphere carried aromas of brewed coffee and frying bacon. The typical nighttime visitors, a driver scanning his paper, a pair of young lovers dividing a dessert, and a couple of university students reviewing notes over shakes, lent the location a comfortable, tranquil feel. At the counter stood Emily, a 22-year-old server noted for her friendly grin and prompt attention. She gathered each gratuity to cover costs for her medical training. Her strands were gathered in a clean tail, and even after extended hours she concealed any fatigue. She sang softly while topping up the brewer, appreciative of the serene shift. That tranquility soon ended. A sharp chime from the entrance bell rang out, admitting a rush of chilly, moist breeze as three individuals entered briskly. They appeared rugged, clad in hide coats, soiled footwear, and carrying an attitude that drew stares from all. The largest, sporting a lopsided smirk and a mark across his face, dropped into a seat and signaled Emily with a tone that caused her to tense. "Hello there, darling," he shouted, grinning slyly. "Could we get some brew? Make it extra pleasant, like yourself." His companions chuckled excessively, already disrupting the diner's gentle rhythm. Emily offered a courteous expression and agreed. "Certainly coming up shortly." While pivoting to retrieve the container, one individual whispered something vulgar quietly. The pair in the nook shared awkward looks. The driver folded his paper slightly to observe, then resumed his feigned focus. Emily placed their cups down, maintaining an even pitch. "There you are, sirs." The main one inclined ahead, arms resting on the surface. "Sirs, how charming. We're simply seeking some entertainment this evening, dear. What's with the stern face?" Her gut twisted, yet she retreated silently. Nobody else uttered anything. The unease spread gradually. Beyond, the downpour persisted, but within Rosie's eatery, the mood had altered. A shiver spread that unrelated to the elements. None could predict the upcoming entrant. Emily aimed to concentrate on her duties, topping up condiment holders at the bar while the trio's chuckles resonated. She understood avoiding crude comments often led them to lose interest and depart. However, this occasion seemed unusual. The biggest ruffian marked on his face shouted once more, "Darling, what's delaying that dessert? Don't keep us hanging forever." Emily displayed a civil grin. "On its way, mister." Her words were gentle yet firm, although her fingers shook faintly as she portioned out fruit tart from the showcase. She arranged it on a dish, included a dollop of frozen treat, and delivered it steadily to their area. "At last," the individual remarked, drawing nearer as she positioned the item. "See, not difficult at all. How about lingering here to chat with us?" Emily stood upright swiftly, preserving a businesslike manner. "Others need service. Savor your treat." The individual's smile dimmed somewhat. "Spirited, aren't you?" "I enjoy that," his partners giggled. One extended his limb over the seating, intentionally obstructing her return path. "Come, relax briefly. We won't harm unless desired." The duo in the nook traded another uneasy stare. The students averted their gazes to their materials, acting oblivious. The driver adjusted his position yet remained silent. Emily maneuvered laterally past the barrier, whispering, "Allow me through, please." He snickered and retracted his limb gradually, relishing the minor dominance. Safely at the bar, Emily breathed unevenly. She'd managed disruptive patrons previously, but these individuals unsettled her deeply. She peered at the preparation area where the overseer, a sturdy fellow called Ralph, prepared meats. He caught her glance but averted swiftly, as though expecting the issue to fade. The chuckles from the seating amplified as the group flung sweetener pouches among themselves. Several patrons discreetly collected their items and exited into the weather, reluctant to remain. Emily grasped the brewer once more, attempting to maintain her pattern. As she rotated, the marked ruffian demanded, "Refill on the brew, darling. Hurry it up." She neared their spot cautiously, holding the vessel securely. "Here it is," she stated, dispensing precisely. Yet as she extended, the individual purposely bumped her joint, spilling warm liquid onto the surface. "Be careful," he snapped, despite his own cause. His associates erupted in amusement. "My apologies," Emily faltered, grabbing cloth to mop the mess. "Apologies aren't sufficient," the individual declared, his smile becoming harsh. "You need to provide a new serving and perhaps a remorseful gesture too." The ensuing amusement caused Emily's cheeks to redden with embarrassment. She pressed her lips, resolved not to reveal tears. The driver ultimately set aside his paper fully and stared sternly at the group. Enough, let her be. She's merely working. The marked ruffian redirected toward the driver. Stay out of it, elder, unless seeking conflict. The driver huffed and settled back. The Nook pair appeared poised to depart as the students shared anxious murmurs. Emily's pulse quickened. She looked at Ralph once more, wordlessly pleading assistance, but he occupied himself with cooking, feigning ignorance. The group reclined in their area, savoring the discomfort they generated. One emitted a derisive tune. Isn't it amusing how no one plays savior anymore? Emily withdrew to the bar, clutching the rim until her joints paled. She urged herself to endure the evening. Only a bit longer until their exit. Yet the shift continued. The marked ruffian abruptly struck the surface with his hand. We've requested extra cloths for ages. Are you ignoring us or hard of hearing? Emily startled mildly at the noise, but swiftly took a bundle of cloths. She approached their spot, mindful to maintain space while placing them. This instance, another member seized her arm as she pivoted away. Rushing off where? Hang out. We're merely enjoying ourselves. Emily stiffened, gaze widened. She pulled her arm loose carefully and stated resolutely, Don't contact me, please. The individual chortled and released. Ease up, darling. Just being sociable. An anxious hush enveloped the eatery. The sparse remaining visitors dodged glances, focusing on dishes or devices. The secure essence that characterized Rosie's eatery had vanished entirely. Imagine being in this scenario. If observing this occur in the eatery, would you intervene for Emily or seek aid from afar? Also, share your location's nation and town while viewing this tale. We enjoy discovering our audience's reach. Emily sought to regulate her respiration while positioned at the bar, feigning to polish an untouched mug. Her pulse pounded so intensely she detected it above the utensil noise and the glowing indicator, humming by the pane. The ruffians paused their jests temporarily. They now murmured together, directing looks at her as though plotting their next action. The preparation entrance creaked ajar, and Ralph, the overseer, emerged bearing dual servings of sandwiches. He evaded her gaze while attending a nearby spot. Emily noted it in his rigid posture. He avoided issues. This isolated her completely. The group's head, marked across his face, reclined in the seating, steadying an utensil on his digit as if disinterested. Abruptly, he tossed the utensil downward. Server, he commanded, indicating the item. You lost this. Retrieve it. Emily paused, face heating. That's not, she began, but his stare silenced her. The junior member nearby chortled. You listened. That's your role, right? Tidying after visitors. Her legs weakened, yet she crouched and collected the utensil wordlessly. Upon standing, she observed the Nook duo had vanished, their area bare save currency beneath the sweetener container. They'd departed stealthily, averse to the strained environment. Emily sensed greater isolation. She deposited the utensil in a collection bin, then compelled herself to proceed as though unaltered. But the group persisted. What about tunes? The marked ruffian inquired loudly, extending partially from the seating. This spot lacks energy. Perhaps perform a routine for us. A companion issued a crude signal. Emily halted, her frame rigid. Mister, lower your volume, please. Others are present, the ruffian dismissed. Others? Seems we're the sole ones deserving attention. Another strained hush descended. Even the rear students appeared ready to flee, materials partially shut. The driver gazed into his beverage as if desiring invisibility. The ruffian nearest the passage pushed his vacant vessel toward her, toppling the cloth dispenser. Refill and grin during it. Emily nipped her inner lip to restrain retorts. She took the brewer, her grip unsteady. As dispensing commenced, the head exaggerated a stretch, nearly dislodging the vessel from her. The warm fluid neared his attire. Careful, he growled, attempting to scald me. Apologies, she murmured. That's your second error, he noted, his smile distorting harshly. Next we could instruct you properly. His delivery knotted her insides. She withdrew, holding the brewer protectively. For an extended instant, stillness prevailed. The external downpour intensified, distant rumble echoing. From the Nook, the driver vocalized. Stop it, he declared, tone subdued yet resolute. The marked ruffian pivoted gradually toward him. Care to restate, senior? The driver stayed mute. Rather, he elevated his vessel and drank deeply, maintaining focus on the marked individual. The ruffian grinned and reclined anew. As expected, Emily's breathing constricted. She yearned to access her device, but the group monitored her actions. By the entrance, the glowing indicator wavered. The warmth unit deactivated, and the abrupt quiet amplified each inhalation. Emily positioned herself at the bar once more, simulating activity with dishes. Her thoughts swirled. Should I contact authorities? What if they spot my motion? The junior ruffian tapped digits on the surface and voiced mockingly, "Think she'll weep shortly? Wager 10 she'll falter pre-midnight." The trio chortled as Emily tightened her hands at the bar. A student discreetly activated his device beneath the surface, feigning navigation but capturing the event silently. Another rumble shook the panes. The marked ruffian struck his vessel down. "This location dulls. How about a tune from you, darling? Or perhaps join us here." He indicated the vacant spot adjacent. Emily declined. "Mister, please allow my work." The ruffian's smile broadened. "You are working, amusing patrons." Her complexion paled, yet she remained silent. The room's strain intensified. The atmosphere weighed, energized, akin to pre-tempest pause. "If positioned in that eatery currently, would you confront the aggressors or remain silent to evade issues? Share below." Your response could astonish. Emily clutched the bar's rim for stability, hoping inwardly for the ordeal's conclusion. Unbeknownst, the entrance chime would soon sound, altering the entire space. The entrance chime emitted a gentle tone as the portal opened, admitting a surge of fresh, soaked breeze. All gazes naturally shifted to the entry. A lofty silhouette entered, attired in a dark hide coat shimmering with moisture. His build was wide and his aura occupied the threshold prior to speech. The individual silently lowered his covering, displaying smoothed locks flecked with silver. His composed, narrowed gaze surveyed the area briefly before sealing the portal, excluding the tempest. Emily halted at her post at the bar, fingers still on the rim. The individual's aura somehow reassured her. The Nook students traded swift murmurs, devices momentarily set aside. The trio, conversely, seemed indifferent. The marked head reclined in his area and whispered indistinctly. The newcomer proceeded to the bar silently, his steps resounding mildly on the flooring. He neglected to remove the moisture from his attire, merely settled on a seat and paused. "Night," he uttered in a subdued, firm timbre. Nearly a growl, Emily composed herself and offered a civil grin. "What may I provide, mister?" "Merely brew," he responded. "Plain." His manner was steady, but his glance briefly shifted to the area housing the ruffian. That lone look bore significance, prompting Emily to ponder if he detected the diner's strain. She dispensed the brew with unsteady grip. As she presented the container, he acknowledged gratefully. For the initial occasion that shift, Emily experienced minor ease, but the serenity faded. The most junior ruffian, previously tapping digits, emitted a scornful chuckle. "See what arrived, fellows. Another champion in hide attire. Thinks he's starring in a film." His associates sniggered. The newcomer disregarded mixing his brew with a tiny tool. "Hide coat fellow?" The marked head summoned. "New locally? We maintain amicability. Come greet us?" The newcomer remained immobile. He consumed his brew gradually as though deaf to the provocation. This annoyed the head. "Addressing you," he commanded, volume increasing sufficiently to startle the students. At last, the individual angled his head mildly, face impassive. "I noted," he stated evenly. "Simply uninterested." A wave of anxious amusement traversed the space, not from the ruffians, but the driver, who concealed his smirk behind his container. The marked ruffian arose, his seating grating sharply on the ground. "Uninterested. Got attitude, senior?" Emily's pulse accelerated anew. She desired to advise the newcomer to depart and prevent escalation, but his poise suggested he wouldn't retreat or erupt readily. He placed his tool and rotated on the seat to confront the ruffian directly. "Settle," he voiced, balanced. "You've amused sufficiently tonight." The eatery hushed entirely. The ruffian paused in astonishment. "What was that?" "Settle," the individual reiterated, his words bearing impact that caused the junior pair to adjust restlessly. For a brief period, the marked head lingered, divided between rage and sudden wariness, but then chortled, dismissing. "You don't command me." "Consider yourself strong?" The newcomer delayed response. He eventually stood, rising from the seat with intentional leisure. Nearby, he towered more than initially perceived, his structure commanding, yet actions managed. Emily sensed the strain spark like electricity. The individual voiced anew, manner still steady. "You're frightening folks. Time to cease bothering her." He indicated Emily. The head mocked. "Or else?" The newcomer's gaze held. Avoid discovering. For the initial time that evening, amusement vanished from the ruffian's expressions. The junior pair traded worried looks, uncertain of their head's extent. The head chortled again, yet with reduced assurance. "Aware who you address?" "No," the newcomer answered. Irrelevant. Emily's respiration halted. She'd never witnessed such address to a ruffian without quaking. The head clenched hands, advancing. The odor of old drink strong on his exhalation. "Huge error, Senior. Huge." Precisely then, a breeze gust shook the portal, causing the overhead chime to ring. The noise resonated like caution. The newcomer remained steady. Rather, he extended for a cloth and cleaned his palms. In the nook, the driver inclined a head mildly as anticipating events. The marked ruffian commanded his associates. "Rise, demonstrate he entered incorrectly." The junior pair paused but gradually stood. Emily retreated, pulse thumping. She yearned to call for authorities, but her words stuck. The newcomer, though, advanced singly. "Final opportunity," he murmured. "Settle. Depart or I'll insure it." If in Emily's role, would you caution the newcomer to withdraw or rely on his management? Contribute below. We value your reactions. The eatery silenced anew, except the weather assaulting the panes. None yet identified the hidecoat wearer as Steven Seagal, and the ruffians had challenged incorrectly. The external downpour became rhythmic, as if the tempest anticipated internal developments. The entrance chime ceased. The glowing indicator hummed softly, and momentarily motion halted. Steven Seagal, unrecognized save by astonished students, positioned firmly and composed in the eatery's passage. His immobility unsettled the ruffians as confronting not merely a person, but an enigma. The marked head advanced, joint cracking as alert. "You fail to intimidate, Senior," he derided. "Handled tougher." Steven remained unblinking. "Settle," he restated, tone profound and regulated. "Not requesting further." The head grinned, masking eye hesitation. "Or what? Dull me with that steady tone?" Anxious amusement emerged from a junior ruffian, fading under Steven's firm stare. Emily remained immobile at the bar, holding a moist fabric in both grips, conflicted on alerting authorities and avoiding further ruffian agitation. "Oi!" the head commanded Emily. "Liking the display? Perhaps serve more brew before escalation." Steven shifted laterally, placing himself squarely between Emily and the group. "Cease involving her," he stated. The phrase subdued yet edged distinctly. The head's grin wavered, unaccustomed to such opposition, particularly from one appearing for late brew amid rain. "Lads," the head directed, signaling associates. "Instruct etiquette." The junior pair paused anew, sharing concerned stares. One whispered, "Unsure, mate. Issue?" The head retorted, "Solo individual." Steven exhaled mildly and adjusted position, shifting a foot rearward, a minor, discreet shift enhancing his dominance. The taller junior ruffian attacked initially, delivering an uncoordinated strike at Steven's face. Instantly, Steven's palm intercepted the ruffian's joint mid-motion. Maintaining head contact, he rotated the limb smoothly, compelling him downward with subdued pain groan. The students inhaled sharply. One murmured, "He barely shifted." The other ruffian delayed briefly, then rushed, targeting an awkward hit at Steven's side. Steven freed the initial limb and turned sufficiently for the strike to fail. A swift, accurate push with Steven's joint propelled him tumbling into their former seating. Both assailants now grounded or moaning on cushions. The eatery hushed profoundly. The external tempest growled like remote cheers. The marked head's grin vanished, substituted by a frown scarcely concealing astonishment. "Consider yourself strong?" he expelled, unaware who you face. Steven angled his head mildly, focus fixed. "Likewise." The head roared and charged, delivering a weighted strike. Steven evaded effortlessly as predicted. In identical flow, he directed the head's force beyond, permitting momentum to hurl him against the bar. Emily recoiled, yet held position, gaze astonished. The head staggered rear, holding his flank, shamed and enraged. "Finished," he yelled, seeking stability. Steven advanced gradually, tone deepening. "Depart." The delivery's assured poise, absolute fear absence, prompted junior ruffians to rise and retreat to the exit. They concluded, The head glanced from Steven to associates, realizing isolation. He uprighted maximally, salvaging dignity. Unfinished, he whispered, retreating outward. Steven held, observing the group exit into weather. The portal chime rang upon closure. Extendedly, silence dominated the eatery. Sole audible were consistent downpour and mild clatter of Emily's unsteady grips placing fabric on bar. Ultimately, the Nook driver emitted subdued signal. Remarkable, he voiced. The students, having captured the occurrence, murmured thrilled. That's Steven Seagal, one stated audibly, gaze expanded. Certain. Emily blinked, regarding her rescuer. You're Steven Seagal? She inquired gently. Steven offered minor affirmation, nearly abashed by notice. Pleased to assist, he noted, removing moisture from his arm. Emily displayed unsteady grin. Gratitude. Uncertain of outcomes without your entry. Steven's face eased mildly. Undeserved treatment, he remarked. You maintained position admirably. That's courageous. Emily sensed moisture in eyes, swiftly removing, thankful for ordeal's end. The eatery gradually revived. The driver resumed consumption. Students hummed over witnessed event. Emily replenished Steven's brew, grips firmer. Complimentary, she noted. Steven provided minor, courteous affirmation. If present, would you intervene like Steven Seagal or await authorities? Inform below. Your view could astonish others. Externally, the tempest lessened, yet internally the evening brightened somewhat. The eatery appeared oddly hushed post-turmoil, as if structures recovered. Moisture trickled from external covering in consistent flows, and the glowing indicator hummed softly and quiet. Steven Seagal resumed his bar position as though unaltered. He consumed more brew, stance eased yet vigilant. Emily observed him blending thankfulness and incredulity. Her grip ceased quaking as she polished a cleaned container. The Nook students clustered in their area replayed captured footage on devices. One whispered, "This will explode digitally." Skeptics until viewed. The driver, remaining seated, eventually commented, his profound tone resonating in silence. Crossed regions 2 decades, he stated. Never observed bully suppression that swift, impressive. Emily grinned faintly, yet concentrated on her intervener. Unnecessary action, she murmured to Steven. He offered minor dismissal. Couldn't observe. Some press, others do internal fear. Comprehend force upon display. Emily sensed throat constriction at his phrase. Remarkable, she voiced. Steven regarded her, face benevolent yet humble. You displayed courage also. Few remain upright outnumbered, unbroken. A quiet interval transpired between them, one conveying shared esteem over discomfort. The device-holding student abruptly exclaimed, Mr. Seagal, correct? Steven angled mildly and offered small, nearly timid affirmation. Yes, he conceded. The student's mouth opened and he nudged companion. Knew it, told you. The driver laughed. Clarifies much, he noted, dismissing with grin. Emily's gaze widened mildly. Viewed your films, she stated, tone amazed. Unimagined encounter in eatery amid storm. Steven provided uncommon partial grin. Existence amusing thus. Abruptly, the portal chime rang anew. The tone tensed all momentarily, but now merely dual regional enforcers entered, removing moisture from attires. An enforcer neared the bar. Received alert on disruption. Situation resolved? Emily glanced Steven, then affirmed to enforcer. Resolved now. Trio harassed me and visitors, but this person intervened. The enforcer's focus shifted to Steven, vision narrowing upon recognition. Steven Seagal, he voiced, mildly astonished. Steven offered courteous affirmation. Correct timing, location. The associate regarded students. Captured it? The student affirmed eagerly. Entirety. They exceeded. He protected her. The enforcer exhaled, relieved. Assists. We'll locate them. Emily breathed out, sensing shoulder ease knowing ruffians absent tonight. The enforcers expressed appreciation for collaboration and departed, assuring area monitoring against troublemaker return. Upon portal closure, the eatery appeared normalized. The driver returned to beverage and treat. Students discussed footage upload and Emily replenished Steven's container finally. You realize, Emily murmured. Your composure throughout unnerved more than outburst. Steven laughed mildly. Rage causes errors, poise controls space. Learned ages past, Emily affirmed thoughtfully. I'll recall that. Shortly, students grinned at devices. Gaining traction, one voiced thrilled. Viral bound, Emily grinned involuntarily. Positive from evening at least. Steven arose, presenting currency for brew despite Emily's objection. Unowed, she stated. Merely contributing, he answered. He fixed a tire and provided Emily final comforting glance. Care for self. Prevent such intimidating you. They succeed only if permitted. Emily sensed internal warmth from his phrase. Gratitude entirely, she voiced earnestly. Steven offered slight affirmation, then pivoted and proceeded to portal. Upon opening, downpour reduced to mild spray and external illuminations mirrored on damp ground. The portal chime sounded ultimately as he exited into darkness. His outline bordered by Eatery's glowing indicator. Extendedly post-departure silence held. Emily surveyed remaining visitors, drivers, students, sharing implicit notion. Witnessed rarity. Emily regarded vacant seats Steven occupied and sensed odd tranquility. The tempest concluded externally and internally. If in Emily's position, what address to Steven Seagal post-evening? Contribute below. We value hearing. That evening, student footage reached digital platforms. By dawn, vast audiences viewed composed. Bold intervener defending server when essential. By subsequent sunrise, tempest dissipated, leaving glistening paths under initial illumination. Within Eatery, Emily resumed, dispensing brew for early patrons as routine. Yet her device vibrated persistently at bar. She examined during pause and nearly released it. Her digital stream overflowed with notes. Prior evening student footage amassed vast views overnight. Responses arriving rapidly. Needed champion type. Admire Steven Seagal for non-violent intervention. Emily remained resilient. Courageous server. Ruffians chose wrongly. Emily grinned involuntarily. Footage displayed not solely Steven's poise, but her concealed dread behind civil expression that evening. Supportive responses lifted burden. Folks acknowledged her trial and supported. At separate spot, prior driver arrived for standard meal. Famous herd, he jested, grinning. Emily chuckled gently. Not I, Stevens discussed. Merely present, the driver dismissed. No story component. Maintained composure. Significant. Concurrently distant in lodging, Steven Seagal positioned quietly, consuming infusion and reviewing identical footage. His expression impassive yet eye glint resembled satisfaction upon Emily's stance. Journalists contacted Eatery for discussions, and midday, regional broadcast vehicle arrived externally. Emily, initially anxious yet resolved narrating could motivate others against helplessness via intimidation. In brief discussion, she stated, unanticipated intervention, but Steven not solely rescued me. Reminded all feasible uphold right sans composure loss. The segment disseminated swiftly as original footage. Soon, broader channels adopted with titles like Film Icon Intervenes Saving Server from Intimidation. Steven Seagal's composed clash viralizes. Late Eatery Tempest Unexpected Champion by Dusk. Footage surpassed vast views. Figures and promoters shared with labels like Esteem and Support Others. Emily's superior Ralph Kitchen hidden during event expressed regret afternoon. Should intervened also, he conceded clumsily. Emily grinned and dismissed. All frightened, but someone wasn't. Later evening, as Eatery quieted, Emily positioned in seating post-shift and reviewed viral entry responses. She whispered one specific aloud. Bravery not always combat. Occasionally steadfast, vocal, fear denial. Those phrases lingered. Steven conversely departed region. Avoided attention. Once assured Emily secure and enforcers apprehended ruffians, he proceeded unceremoniously. Emily contemplated that while securing Eatery that evening. Regarding path where prior downpour intense, she sensed novel fortitude in her core. If convinced require more subtly yet potently opposing aggressors, enter Esteem below. And remember, subscribe for additional motivating tales like this. The event trended days, not via aggression but via composed bravery one displayed when crucial. And how that bravery motivated Vast to trust proper actions. Emily recognized she'd always recall that turbulent evening. Not via fear but via proof to her and digital observers that integrity triumphs even dimmest instances.